Right, let's set up the last thing with our user. So we want to implement the component and just like hammer up the small details. Now right now we're using the DB menu add from Firebase. We don't really need this one. We just kind of need to contact the database, not the collection there. So in our navigation, instead of importing the menu add, just import the DB instead. That should be fine. Should still have the user up there in our what you call the I can't remember if I did in the last video and just tested here, but if I just did in the last video, I just add an h4 and then interpolation the current user.email. I think I did this in the last one. But we have some issues over here, and I can show you this real quick. So right now I'm logged in, I have this shown here, and if I log out, I'm going to get a small error, so I can't actually use my navigation anymore. If I refresh, well, I couldn't before, so it kind of disappears, right? Because it doesn't really know how to interpret if it's null or if it's set or something like this. So we're going to create a if around this one up here. So I'm just going to create a quick diff around here and move the diff to the end of this one here. So I'm just going to post this and indent this, and I'm going to create a vif here. So I'm going to state if the user is logged in, if it's true, then you're going to show me this, and then it's going to do the else, which is nothing. So that makes everything come back to normal again. So there's nothing up here right now because we're not logged in. If we click login and we do the login, hey, there we go, bagel 1 2 3 4 5 1 2 3 4 5 6. Login, it should be let's go up here and refresh. Actually, it should be up there. So we have an error. Oh, it's not user, it's current user. So if I'm doing this correctly, so now we have it up here. So that's just one thing we need to fix here. Great. So let's try and implement a little bit of design for this. Now I just went to the avatar in the component for Vuetify, and I'm just going to use this profile card here and just scale it down a little bit. I'm just going to use what they create. Oh, you can create your from scratch, but I'm lazy. I'm going to use Vuetify. And you can also set everything up yourself down here if you want to. But I'm using the avatar, and I'm just going to steal this one here from the card and to the end of the card here. So I'm grabbing both the images and the picture of him and everything. Now, inside my current user, I'm just going to create some space so I can see where I start and end. I'm just going to paste this in, and I'm going to indent it correctly because that's really annoying. Whoops, what did I do? Let's do this again, and I'm going to paste this in, and I'm going to indent this. And 1 2, there we go. No, there we go. There we go. So this should be indented correctly inside, I hope. Almost, but it's close enough. Now if I save and I go back to my browser, I have this big ass picture with the logged in information and everything, right? So I'm just going to scale this down a little bit. So I'm going to say the max width is 200. That's going to be fine. The image is only going to be, as you go, like 65 pixels. So let's see, this is scaled down a bunch, right? Right now it's a picture of this dude and his name, and he's a network engineer. I don't really care about this, so I'm just going to remove that one. And I'm not going to use his name, I'm going to use current user, right? So we're going to grab the interpolation we have down here with our H4 here, and we're going to punch this in here instead of the other one. So we're going to keep the images of him as well because I'm just too lazy to switch it. But now you can see we have the background for the server, we have the login information for the user, and the facial. So if you have a photo ID, you can switch it, or you can just remove that if you don't want it as well. I'm just going to leave it here because that's fine. So let's check this out. If I log out, this should disappear, and if I log in again, we should have the bagel, bagel.com 1 2 3 4 5 6, and log in, and we should be back to showing the image of this dude here. So if I navigate to the other pages, it's also on this one because I set it part of the navigation and not part of this one. So if I set it part of the home or menu or admin down here, I had to import that to each of those, but I know I just want to have it on my opening up here. So that's how I set this up. But that's how you can set up a user by using Vuex and using both mutations and actions to import them, and then you can continue styling it so it looks a little better to whatever you want it to look like. Cool, see you in the next video.